All right, it's March 11th. It's 5:05. This is a meeting. Is that right? No, that's 6:05. All right. Nobody change your clocks. 6:05. This is a meeting of the Capital Improvement Committee. First order of business is a Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First order of business was some minutes that happened on May 22nd. Did everybody read the
Mr. Chairman?
minutes?
No, you'll need to say this. We're being recorded.
We are being recorded. Sorry.
Thank
First time you have a full board, so a couple of quick introductions.
Yeah, I was gonna do that after the minutes, so, all right, so, still wanna, go over the minutes, and anybody have a chance to look at them? All right, does anybody wanna make a motion on the minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second. All right, is there no changes? All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, next order of business, we do have a new member joining us, but what I'm gonna do is go around, we'll do like a roll call and a little introduction of your name. So, you wanna start over here, Paul? or-
Paul Kunyachny, Charlton Road.
John Cunningham, West Main Street.
Jay Johnson, Jonathan Bass.
All right, Michael Mayotte, 22 Southbridge Road.
George Petrinas, Byway.
Oh, Jenna. Go ahead, Jenna, I'll let you kinda introduce yourself right now.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Kendra Feldetta, Lakeview Ave.
All right. Doug?
Doug,
Give us a little intro.
32 Noble Street.
You wanna tell us a little bit about yourself and why you decided to join Capital Improvement? or-
Well, I wanted to start trying to help to pretty much get more involved with the town and to be able to really just try to help make a difference and get more into the improvement of the city here or the town.
Do you have any experience in capital type of projects?
got-
Any type of work experience?
I've got quite a bit of experience with construction, everything from asphalt all the way to construction. So,
Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions for Doug before we get going? All right, so we got some new business, excuse me. Yeah, we got some new business. We're gonna have the chief come up regarding the police cruisers.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I have, from the police department, I have two requests from the capital improvement. The first one is to purchase a 2023 Ford Explorer admin vehicle. Currently, one of the admin vehicles right now that we have, it's a 2016 Ford Explorer. It has over 110,000 miles. Last month, when the lieutenant was using it, it was on Pine Street. The vehicle died on him. It had to be towed from scene. It was a $800 fix. It was an alternator. That vehicle also has the original transmission on it. That vehicle originally was a line car for many years. The transmission is not going to last much longer. The going rate for a new transmission for Ford Explorer is about $6,000 if we got that from MHQ, MHQ McGovern, I should say. If it was to be rebuilt, you're still looking at about $3,000 to $4,000 if that should happen. So I'll be asking, I got an estimate for the board for an admin package, which would be $54,596. And that would be, it's not a police interceptor, so that's why it's a little bit cheaper than the line cars. If it was a police interceptor, it's got a beefed up engine. This one's got still a decent engine in it. Still can be used for a lot of police activity, but I reduced the cost, and I'll explain to the board. The second part of that request is to add on to a purchase that was agreed upon about 3 years ago, and I'll touch upon the price increases in the last 3 years on Ford and the Ford Interceptors. But For this request, I'll be asking for $54,596 for the purchase of a 2023 Ford Explorer admin package.
Thank you.
Chief, quick question. I know Webster's gone over to these Chevys. Is there savings more in the line? Are they trying to promote those?
Last year there was. The only drawback is you've got a bigger engine. You're going to be spending more money on gas. Chevy, now that they've introduced those to the police industry, this year they have raised their prices by about 10 to 15%. So that same Tahoe for an admin package, you're probably looking at about $65,000, $70,000. So for the Ford Explorer, still much cheaper at this point.
Did you
Chief.
see that what the department chief posted? He was saying that the Tahoe was $2,000. Now, that might have been,
That was probably last year's purchase. When I talked to our dealer sales rep from McGovern MHQ, my original quote was for a hybrid. They have sold out of hybrids. They don't anticipate getting any more hybrids till 2025. That was the original plan, is to go with a hybrid, but they can't even guarantee a hybrid for the next year and a half. They were all sold. The ones that they had got picked up by the West Coast. They were buying them above invoice prices.
Can I ask, Chief, are you still facing the chip problems that all the police cars were delayed?
So that's the
that-
problem, the hybrids. The gas-powered vehicles, they don't really have that big of a problem to get them. It's the hybrids, the electronic cars, they're the ones that are having a lot of issues for purchases.
slightly different topic. You were retrofitting one of the cruisers for the animal control officer,
Correct.
and you were hoping to get those money.
So the vehicle that we're retrofitting for the animal control, we're also going to be trying to look into trying to establish a bloodhound in town. That money is coming out of my budget and also the ACO account to make that happen. I've also reached out to a resident who's always been generous to us to help out with that.
That happened from there.
As of right now, no.
Now, I think you mentioned, is it, no, I was getting Rob's and Roy's confused. I think the glass company was gonna,
Roy's, I will give him credit once we get that vehicle all situated, the animal control and the canine vehicle. Roy's donated their services and the front windshield to that particular vehicle. That particular vehicle originally was donated by the Phelps family about 6, 7 years ago. That was the original canine vehicle. When Officer Shane DiDonato left our department, we put it back into a line car, and now that car is going back into a canine car. But that's a different project than what I'm talking about here.
Hey, Chief, one quick question.
Sure.
Have you tried to place motors, because we've gotten our state bid trucks through there, and so does the highway, and he has access to retail vehicles pretty easy.
So the problem is McGovern is one of the only municipal companies that outfits the vehicles. And we go through the Plymouth County purchasing agreement. So we get our vehicles much cheaper through them. And pretty much what it comes down to is that same vehicle, they will sell it to Webster, Dudley, Oxford, because it's an agreement that we have. So it's not like they can raise or lower the prices. It's an agreed price other than the features inside the vehicle. I wouldn't trust, nothing against any other outfits or anything like that, but we've been doing business with MHQ McGovern for the last 25 years, and I think we've gotten a good product out of them. And at this point, I don't see a reason to switch, because they've taken care of us.
Anybody have any other questions? Chief, I have a couple estimates from MHQ.
Correct.
I'm assuming the one, the $74,000 one?
So the
That's-
$74,000 is gonna be
That's a
line.
cruiser, right?
So that's gonna be my next request. So the $74,000, that was the original line car for a hybrid. I have to now switch over from a hybrid for the line car to a gas-powered vehicle. So that vehicle is costing $71,334.76. So it's cheaper because it's not a hybrid, but we have $60,000 put aside for that vehicle. That was an agreement 3 years ago, Rich, roughly. So for that vehicle, I would be asking for $11,334.76 to add on. So what happened was, when the initial agreement was to purchase 3 cruisers and a fire vehicle, the Ford Explorers were roughly outfitted about $60,000. The 2021 was $58,000. We actually had a little bit of extra money in that one. Then the following year, that jumped up to $64,500, and now with a 2023, it jumps up to $71,334. So in 3 years, Ford has raised the outfit of that vehicle by about $14,000 which reflects about 15 to 18%, I believe, increase. So we weren't anticipating back in 2021 that the vehicles were going to be going up that fast in price, but they are. And I anticipate Ford has lost sales from this year to Chevy. They're going to hold back a little bit with their price increases, but from what I gather, Chevy will have a pretty good sized increase for next year.
So, Chief, we have, unless there's additional copies that I'm not looking at, but we have,
So the board might have received
yeah, we have the estimate from
two quotes for 2
2020.
hybrids,
Yeah.
and then I switched them over to 2 estimates for 2 gas vehicles. So 2 estimates for the gas vehicles, one of them is $71,334.76. That's for the line car. Out of that, I would only need $11,334.76. The second vehicle, the admin car, that's also the gas-powered vehicle. The admin package brings it at $54,596.
Michelle, do we have copies of the updated?
That's the only one he sent me, right?
I sent you that, I believe, last week.
Let me go check.
Might have been on Thursday or Friday.
Oh.
Yeah, because the only estimates that I have in my packet,
50 and then 74. Yeah.
I get the 74.
I have them right here in my hand. And this doesn't include radios, so what we do is, all of our radio equipment, we transfer from one cruiser to the other cruiser. We also transfer as much equipment as possible, so if there's any stop sticks and stuff like that, we transfer that over. The radars, usually we try to get new radar units for them, because they're mounted right inside the cruiser with electronics in them. So most of the equipment we try to salvage as much as possible to transfer them over, but lights change, everything changes. And then once they start breaking down, it's harder to find replacement parts for them.
I'm curious because I see all around that the feds want to move everybody into the green using hybrids and things like that, and I would thought it'd be filtering in down to your levels and stuff, and it seems like it's filtering out, that they're overpricing themselves.
So the problem is now they're having a hard time building these chips for them, because a lot of consumers are looking into hybrids, so they only made so many of these vehicles. So Ford is so far behind in their sales, in their production right now, that they're gonna skip the 2024 model and go right to 2025, because they're so far behind. So that's why the original estimate that I showed you is a 2025 model, because they're skipping right through 2024. They're not even producing that one.
What's the lead time on a car? So like if you put the order in next
So
week, how long are you?
if I was to, after this meeting, if I was to email our sales rep, he has vehicles in the parking lot that are leftover 2023s. If I wait any longer, those vehicles might be gone, and I might have to wait for the 2025s. So that's why it's always urgent to try to get these vehicles secured. I don't think we had this issue before COVID, but after COVID, it seems like, there was another vehicle that they had a leftover, it was a 2022. It's gone because I couldn't get it secured before this meeting. But that vehicle, as soon as some people found out about it, they grabbed it because it was $5,000-6,000 cheaper, and it was one of the last hybrids.
Anybody have any other questions? So, Michelle, do
I'll
we
get a
have?
copy of that from him, okay?
Okay.
Because I guess I gave it.
I think the town administrator just wants to make copies of this.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so So both of these are requests for 2025.
Correct. So what I would do is, if I got approval from the board, they would be delivered after July 1st, but I would have an agreement with the company to secure those vehicles and put them aside for us in the lot. Without that, I can't tell the sales rep to put those aside for us. But if the funding came July 1st, he would have them delivered for us and possibly start working on them before July 1st. It's just I need an answer. That way I can put those aside for us.
So I guess I'll ask Rich on this. Rich, so we have 60,000 that was debt excluded for the cruiser. Which would this apply to? Would this apply to,
It's open.
Does
You have
it matter?
$60,000 to use towards,
it doesn't matter
You go to the
whether it's a
language of the
patrol car
article.
or an admin car?
and if it's more than, you need to make up the difference somewhere. It can be a budgeted line item, however you want to do it. 60,000's authorized. Internally, the capital improvement wants to approve the expenditure beyond 60 for compliance reasons, and you're not borrowing $11,000. So you figure out how that gets spent. We just borrow the money for that short period of time, just enough with the authorization already in place, and off you go.
All right, so, two cruisers, one at 71. One at 54. So, if they're fungible, then the question is,
You have $60,000 plus the 71, and
yeah, right,
then you would get the approval for the other item, because one's already been approved and sits on your plan. You just amend the price.
right. Anybody have any questions here?
It's pretty straightforward.
All right. Preference, chief, on this?
Well, I'd like to get both of them.
Exactly, but if you were to put a and/or, what?
The problem is the admin card that we have right now, it's bound to fail in the next couple months. So it's either we start putting money into that vehicle, and then hold off on a line car, or, do we get a line car and then just hope for the best for the admin car? I don't see this is an opportunity for us to kind of secure our 2023 leftover two vehicles. If not, if we wait to get the 2025s, I'm not 100% sure what the price is going to be. They could be $3,000 more, could be $10,000 more. I have no idea, but just by looking at the last 3 years, we went from $58,000 for a cruiser, a hybrid cruiser, to the original estimate was $74,000. So they went $16,000 in 3 years for the hybrid. Granted, I reduced it by going to a gas, which it's a little bit cheaper, but I just don't see the prices of these Fords. Hopefully they slow down, but hope is it's a common word in this town.
So, obviously, I don't want to get too deep into the financial aspect of this, but we've already got 60, as Rich mentioned. So, that's already baked into the cake. So, the admin vehicle fit in without problem in that. So, then the second request would be, for the $70,000 vehicle. That's why I wanted to know where you feel on this going into, this budget season.
Well, again, I don't want to take a chance with the admin vehicle, but again, I don't want to fall behind on the line card down the road where if we continue with the progress of keeping those cars fairly new, it keeps the maintenance down. So that would be, it's hard to say yes to one or the other. Preferably, I'd like to replace both of them, but
Well, the only reason I ask that is because if you, let's say we flip which one we want, let's say we go after the 7, we know we got the 60 baked into the cake, where town's gonna find another 10. Either within, I don't know if you have anything left in your police cruiser.
So actually, one of the cruisers that we leased, it was at one of the 2021s. Originally, that was, the town meeting only gave $15,000 towards that vehicle. That vehicle took about 2 years to get delivered. So now the lease payment comes out of my expense account, which is about $20,500 a year. I still have 3 payments left on that vehicle, so roughly $30,000. So I've been trying to manage to pull that out of the expense account. Once that's gone, that's gonna free up some money in the expense account. I don't think I would ever go to another lease program again, unless it was financed through the town, like we have, but that vehicle comes out of my expense account. So I'm juggling that one while trying to lessen the maintenance costs on the other ones.
Mr. Rudy, you have any thoughts here?
Well, Mr. Chairman, the Capital Improvement Stabilization Fund, I mean, the name says it all, right? For price increases, that's a good way to at least offset the additional cost on the cruise that was previously approved. And it might be a consideration whether or not we want to, if we're not going to lease, we're certainly going to have to, if it's decided to purchase the vehicle, we're going to have to pay for it either through borrowing or straight up cash. So it's a capital improvement program. It's, you know, replacing a vehicle is certainly a suitable use for it.
And in the past, we've usually attempted to wait until fall.
For free cash.
For free cash to purchase any capital improvements. So
That's when prices weren't going up $1,000 a
Right.
minute.
Mr. Chair? To advocate for the chief's position is that if we do wait another 6 months, that now pushes back the probability of actually taking hold of that vehicle maybe up to another year. You know, so, I mean, we may be foolish on just pushing things back by just a half of a budget cycle. We're already a couple of years deep into this, and we don't have any assets just of yet. So, you know, with that being said, do we chance taking, you know, a 6-month look and having additional repair costs or a cruiser or two that are permanently out of service? So I would advocate to take a look at this as a whole package today and get this rolling.
Yeah, I personally, you know, the chief needs these cars. You know, as far as this board's concerned, this is, you know, we got the estimates, and I don't see any problems.
And
at all.
Mr. Konechny is 100% right. Rudy, our sales rep, is waiting for an email first thing tomorrow morning, because if we don't get if I don't get approval to secure these vehicles, he's gonna call the next department that is on queue for these vehicles, and he's gonna try to get rid of them. If I give him an answer tomorrow morning, we have those secured in our lot at that price. And if we let that go to 2025 again, I don't know what the prices are gonna be. If I did, I wouldn't be doing this.
Right.
But, so that's, and again, I agree with Paul. It's,
Yeah, we don't want to wait on any of this. I'm just kind of looking at, you know, paying for it. So going into the Springtown meeting, the administrative car is already, the money was already raised for that amount, so that's there. The other car at 70,000, we would probably have to do something, probably, I don't want to get too deep into it, but probably somewhere in stable to move that money from capital improvement stable to purchase that car. So that would have to be a warrant article for that.
I think, Mr. Chairman, the risk of repair costs, prices going up versus what we may earn on capital improvement stabilization, I think it's the right, I agree that it's the right thing to do is to get it now.
They will have some time to, yeah.
All right. Does anybody want to make a motion on the administrative car? Add that to the capital plan?
I make a motion, Mr. Chair, that we make the price adjustment to what was originally agreed on, $60,000, that we, actually, I'm a little confused on how to make this motion exactly. But I make a motion that we make the requested amendment to increase the $60,000 for the police cruiser to the $74,229.76 for
It would be,
the,
it would be 71, it's the lower the two, the 71,334 and 76 cents. It's the gas powered one, not the hybrid one.
oh, gotcha, okay.
It's the one that says 23 line car on top.
All right, so we have a motion to purchase the regular cruiser, 71,334. Second?
Second.
All right, is there any discussion on that cruiser? All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, and then, take a motion, anybody wants to make a motion on the administrative car for $54,596?
You need it?
Huh?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, do
Sure.
you need it? If you have it authorized already, you're not buying two new ones. You're buying one with funds previously
Well,
approved.
that's why I asked you if they're fungible. There's two of them, so we're adding one to the plan.
You're adding one to the plan, so you're looking, I think Kendra wanted to go through and
Either one.
amend the plan plus the 11 and change, and then a new vehicle for 54.
Yeah. So that's why I'm asking for a motion, because we haven't voted on that. We amended the original,
We amended the original.
which is done, now we need, okay, thank you. All right. Anybody, you want me to repeat that, or?
Please repeat it.
All right, so I'm looking for a motion, on the administrative vehicle for total of $54,596 to be added to the capital plan.
I'll make a motion that we allow the police chief to order one administrative vehicle at the total cost of $54,596.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on that? Good. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, chief. Next up is Dudley Senior Center. Do you have anybody on this?
I can speak on it if the director is unavailable. Mr. Chairman, we were talking, it may have come before the board last year, or you and I may have had a conversation about it. I don't recall, but it was to paint, refloor, do countertops, basically give the senior center a facelift. And I believe we were trying to get an earmark at that time for it. At this point, we have a local nonprofit organization that's willing to donate the labor and materials required to give the senior center a facelift. I'm not gonna say their name because they probably don't want me to until they actually make it official. But the last quotes that we received for this, considering that we had to pay prevailing wage if it was done through a procurement process, was $39,833.41. This is not gonna go through a procurement process because it's all donated time and materials and so forth from a nonprofit organization. So if we use this amount for a placeholder, I anticipate it's gonna be a significantly lower bill through that donated.
So you're looking for a vote up to?
Up to that amount would be more than enough, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
good. Okay.
question through you, through the town administrator. This is the first time that they've put an effort into that facility, correct, to upgrade it?
To my knowledge,
As far as we understand.
Michelle would probably agree with
How
that.
old is how old is this facility?
2005, this building was built.
Oh, so we're looking at almost 20 years.
We may have replaced an
Yeah.
appliance here and there, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
nothing.
wash machine.
It definitely needs it.
It's time.
Through the chair. Town administrator, to explain a little more about the deferred cost, deferred funding. It's from a nonprofit, so what would be the town's outlay, if any?
So it's a nonprofit organization that has come forward and approached the director about donating labor and materials to accomplish most, if not all, of these facelifts to the senior center. So whether they do it through volunteers or they subcontract people out, they pay for the entire shooting match.
So zero cost to the town.
Zero cost to the town, zero cost to the taxpayer, no borrowing. It's all donated time and materials.
Mr. Chairman, I suggest we move to a motion.
Sure. Anybody want to make a motion on the work in the senior center?
You make a motion, appropriate the necessary money to the senior center up to $39,000.
That or you want to say 40?
40,000, we'll go 40,000. Yes, 40,000.
Second. Any discussion on anything on that? Right, seeing none, we'll hold a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Anything else we need for capital? Mr. Administrator, you anticipate any more capital projects coming forward? You know what the date is for?
I don't unless the water sewer superintendent does, but we put out glass call for that, so I
I'm
don't.
holding one off. I have one. We're gonna look at, I have planned for a new Jetta, but I'm gonna hold that off a little bit right now. We got too many fats in the fire.
Like, there's the answer, Mr. Chairman.
So we have another scheduled meeting in 2 weeks. We have nothing else for capital.
That's correct, and I've asked Olivia, the intern, to work on updating our original spreadsheet that we had been following for a few years. It's fallen behind. So by the time that next meeting hits, whether or not we go forward, the meeting's up to you, Mr. Chairman, but it will be updated and we'll have a spreadsheet to work off of again. We'd submit that to the Board of Selectmen. They would vote to accept it and approve it, and we'd move forward from there.
Okay. All right. Any questions or anything before we adjourn? All right. Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion. I make a motion, we adjourn.
All right.
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Adjourned.